Hello, this is the 8th of April, and this is the Open Research Institute's meeting for FPGA work. We talk about what we've done, what we have planned, and any roadblocks that we have, and any resources that we need. Coming up over the next week or so is equipment retrieval. So we're going to consolidate our Remote Labs South into Remote Labs West. And there'll be a lot of writing about that. So we'll give you a full update on what's happening there. This will do a lot to improve our infrastructure and to realign what we have in terms of equipment with the goals of what we're doing, which is open source uh, R&D for digital radio. Now, there has been some activity on Opulent Voice. Matthew can't be here today. He has some other things that have come up, so he'll be busy with that. He'll be back as soon as he can. So he's got a long list of things to do with the code. But in terms of Opulent Voice testing, there might not be a whole lot over the next week as we work on lab infrastructure. And so I'll hand it off to Aaron with any updates or anything that he needs.
Sure. So last week I was able to spend a little bit of time with Opulent Voice and OpenCPI. I've gotten the MSK modulator integrated and it's transmitting, but I ran into issues with what it looks like the F1 and the F2 are too spread apart such that it looks more like an FSK versus an MSK. So I did reach out on Slack, and I appreciate, I think Matthew got back to me on how those are calculated. So I still need to go back and maybe recalculate them using his second message, which had a little bit more detail on how to get those right. But I'll be working on that. In the last week, I was also able to finally assemble my Pico tuner. So that was a lot of fun. It took about 3 hours. But I've got it assembled and I smoke tested and no smoke, thankfully. All the voltage regulators are functional. The next step would be programming the Raspberry Pi Pico and testing the interface on hopefully getting it to decode an actual DVB-S2 signal. So that's what I'll be working on this coming week, along with continuing Opulent Voice. Yep, that's my update.
Well, thank you. That's a whole lot. Yeah, congratulations on the successful build and deployment of some really neat hardware. So, yeah, that's excellent news. All right, and Thomas, he's not able to join today, but he has some updates. He says he's looking to prepare something on comparing the results to the link budget for next week. So, because of the big Earth Venus Earth event, we were able to collect a large amount of data, and now this will help inform our link budget. We've gotten some excellent feedback over the past week with detailed, issues, people raising questions, asking questions, making suggestions, wanting clarification. So we're moving forward with that. Pete is also moving forward with an article. So he's writing a paper or article about delay Doppler channels and constructing a signal for the next opportunity they would get for the Earth Venus Earth activity. Let's see. I have a talk about artificial intelligence and the RTTY work that we did, or radio teletype receiver work that we've done. That article will appear in QAX magazine sometime soon. It's been accepted by QAX, but not yet scheduled. At tonight's presentation to a radio club, we'll talk about artificial intelligence and machine learning with respect to amateur radio and the different use cases and different ways that AI ML affects amateur radio. So we got a lot going on, and some things in the works in terms of running the whole spectrum, all the way from infrastructure and getting equipment retrieved, moved, redeployed, looking at our infrastructure to help serve people over the internet, to have a remotely accessible lab bench, So moving forward with that, we've got plenty going on with open CPI efforts and getting a minimum shift keying implementation on the Pluto working. So very close there. And the question of the frequencies not being right, that's the exact same thing that happened to us on the Pluto just a few months ago. Doesn't seem like it seems like it might be longer ago than it is. It was only November of 2024 that we had a pretty significant difference in the where the frequencies were. So it's easy to get this to happen, especially when you're deploying to different hardware or using a different framework. So it immediately sounded like a similar situation to the one that we had in the lab. Um, and so getting those two frequencies exactly right is kind of a big deal. So it's a very familiar challenge with this sort of work. So yeah, so moving forward on the MSK, moving forward on link budgets and things like that, and continuing good interactions and collaboration with IEEE. Another thing coming up later in April is we have an opportunity to exhibit and to talk to the public at the Del Mar Electronics and Manufacturing Show. It's a big regional show in Southern California and has lots of different, very interesting, and mostly commercial companies, but all into manufacturing electronics and a lot of communications and communications components support. So we're looking forward to raising the profile of both amateur radio and yeah, open source digital radio work at that event. And that's what I've got for this week. So any other comments or questions before we close? All right, so thank you, everybody. Plenty going on. All of this that we're talking about is going to show up in our newsletter for April. With some additional stuff, Ribbit has made some changes in the application. It's a web app for that particular project. They made some changes and updated the application. So I'll also fold that into the upcoming newsletter. All right, so if you'd like to get involved, please visit us at openresearch.institute. We have a getting started page that tells you all about us. And if you're there, then and you want to check out what we've done in the past, then we have our news feed on the main page. It goes back past 100 items, so plenty to look at. And we also have our newsletter. We also do regulatory work. So our most recent work there is some comments about how to improve things for us on the 219 megahertz band. A very interesting band that if we could get some few rules changes in the United States from the FCC, then will definitely help get this band more traction and more usage. So thank you to everybody. I'll see you next week for our regular meeting. It'll most likely be on the road. We'll be traveling to work on lab issues, and so that'll be a very interesting meeting. So we'll talk to you all soon.